Another classic radio air check on the home of classic Top 40 radio, airchecks.com.
WBZ Radio 1030. WBZ Boston. WBZ Boston.
I'm WBZ AccuWeather meteorologist Alex Isaski.
Right now, we have 74 degrees in Boston. Stay tuned for more of The Jordan Rich Show. I'm Suzanne Rowntree, WBZ News Radio 1030.
Welcome back, dear friends, and Jordan Rich is here with you until midnight tonight. I'll be with you again, of course, Friday night at midnight, Saturday at midnight. I like to stay up late. That's what I do. Anyway, pleasure to have you on board. Steve Lavelli will be in at the dawn of the new day to take you along. Joining us in just a second or two is a voice, a name, a voice, a personality, a guy with quite a history here in this market and throughout the country, many, many markets, many radio and television markets. And there was a piece in the Boston Globe magazine last week, June 16th edition, featuring our next guest, Jerry Williams. Now, if you're from the Boston area, his name is pretty much a household name because we have sort of grown up with Jerry Williams, and Jerry joins us now on WBZ to say hello officially on the Jordan Rich Show for the first time. Jerry, welcome.
Hello, what's the lottery number?
I don't do those. I let the next guy do those.
I thought you were. That's what she said. You'll be speaking to Jordan, and he'll give you the lottery number.
I don't have a blessed clue as to what the lottery number is, and I usually don't even care. But people do, I suppose. First of all, how are you feeling? How are you faring these days? Good. Health is good?
So far, so good.
Excellent.
I'm alive.
You sound terrific.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to invite callers in early at 617-254-1030.
You don't know me. I'm out of the city for a long time.
Well, how long has it been out of the loop, Jerry?
I guess it's about 2.5 years.
Okay. Maybe it's a better question to ask, how long were you in the loop? I mean, your career spans a few decades.
I was in the loop from 19... I forgot how long I was in the loop. Let's see. What does in the loop mean?
Well, let's say the Boston area loop, radio talk-wise, 56, 7, 8, something like that?
Well, I was in the Boston area, if you want to call that area. People in the advertising business, what do they call that? Metro Boston?
They have some kind of extremely technical term for it. We call it Boston area, though.
Yeah, well, I was here about 16 years.
You were really the first guy, though, to do it back in the late 50s in Boston, to have talk after hours. Didn't you follow
it wasn't
some
actually,
interesting guys?
What was that? Didn't I follow whom?
Didn't you follow some interesting DJs in the Boston market? Wasn't Arnie one of your predecessors?
Arnie Ginsberg was on ahead of me.
Right.
On the old MEX,
mm-hmm.
And it was old, let me tell you. And Arnie and I didn't clash at all. The problem was, how do I get rid of all the cockamammies who were waiting on the line to get me as I came in? They were listening to Arnie. They wanted Arnie. They didn't need me. And when I went on the air at 10 o'clock at night, all I heard was cockamammies all over the place. But it was fun, and I did it.
You did it with your own certain brand of style and panache, and what an amazing guest.
Panache?
I think they serve it at the Pancake House.
Okay.
But you did it with an amazing talent to attract interesting guests, including in the 60s, guys like Malcolm X and folks like that. You have a guest book that I've seen. Maybe you can just tell our WBZ friends out there, who are some of your favorite guests over the years?
Well, Malcolm X, of course, was one of my favorites. Malcolm had come into town and was not as well known as he should be. Malcolm wanted to be well known, and hence he tried to get on all the television stations. They wouldn't hear no hide of him, and they didn't want him on because he was a troublemaker at the time. And Malcolm was killed just a few days after I had him on the air. Simple as that. He's gone, and he would have been a great leader had he lived through this, but nobody in the town, including newspapers, wanted to hear from him. They were all afraid of him. So I interviewed Malcolm a dozen times at least. We had some exciting conversations. and debates, and we stayed on the air sometimes 4 hours and more. When the boss called in and said, "Can you keep that guy on the air with us, please, for another hour?" Which I did.
Long-form interviews, something of a thing of the past, unfortunately. You've moved around. Is Boston still one of the better markets for a radio guy to do the kind of things that you did? Were you happiest here or elsewhere?
Actually, the big city for talk during that period of time was Philadelphia. Philly had some real great talk show hosts, but they didn't use the two-way talk methodology. They just, did interviews. There was Steve Allison. I think he's passed away. Cal Ross. I don't know whether he's passed away or not. When people pass away, they say he didn't die. He passed away. Yeah. And there were at least 3 or 4 others in the market, in the loop at the time in Philadelphia. And we enjoyed being friendly with one another. But that was the beginning of talk radio. And the second person in the town was me. I was working at a Camden radio station that's across the road from Philadelphia. And the Camden radio station wanted to do something different at the time, which is two-way talk radio, which is what we did up until that time. What we had to do was repeat what the caller said. So when somebody called me and said, "Jerry, did you have Malcolm X on? I wanted to talk to you." "Jerry, did you have Malcolm X on?" So you had to repeat everything they said.
Yep.
In order to explain what was going on. Would you believe it? It was interesting.
I think the last guy to do that, by the way, in the era of two-way talk was Kenny Mayer. You remember Kenny's show?
Oh, yes, right.
He'd play records in his basement, and he would talk to people off the air, and it would be a scream. We're talking, obviously, with Jerry Williams, and I say obviously because Jerry's voice is so recognizable to people in this
my
market.
voice, anyway.
It sounds terrific. And you look wonderful. And hey, let me ask you a question. We're going to take a bunch of calls. A lot of your fans are on board, maybe even some of your enemies. I don't know, but we'll take them anyhow.
Makes no difference.
Exactly. Could anybody do the kind of issue talk that you did in the 70s and 80s, taking an issue and going weeks and weeks and months to make a point? It doesn't happen, obviously, anymore, as far as I can tell. Can it still happen? What do you think?
No, it can't be done anymore. There's nobody around to do it. And the bosses, so-called, don't want to hear that kind of thing. I remember the boss at BC when I was involved in Watergate. And I was deeply involved in Watergate on a night-to-night basis for months at a time. And I got a call from somebody in the front office. I will not name him at this time. Well, then again, I might. And he said, "Can you get off it?" And I said, "No, Si, I am not getting off it." And I didn't get off it, but he wanted me to get off it. He didn't censor me or anything, but he felt it was too much doing this night after night after night, 4 hours per night, and then interviewing people in Washington and in Philadelphia and other places all over the country where there weren't too many people interested at that time in Watergate. So we just passed by. We had so much Watergate on the other night. I had to go to the bathroom. My God, man. How much can you do?
Exactly.
Did you notice that?
Lots of John Dean looking old and saying he knew who Deep Throat was. Yeah, that was all over.
It was so much I couldn't. They were angry with me at BZ at the time. It wasn't BZ. It was Cy. It said, "Please get off it. We've had enough." But we didn't have enough because it brought us to the brink with. The folks at I was interested in hearing it again, but it was a bit much the other night.
Let's talk a little bit about your passion for the business and for issues and so forth. You come into this as a performer first. You were not only a radio guy, but an actor and a singer and all that. You have a passion for entertaining. I've always thought that when you get behind the microphone, your adrenaline takes over and you have to be bigger than life. Tell me about your passion. What drove you to be such a high-energy guy all those years?
Well, back in the days when I was in the service, way back, when I was in the service, I got some basic experience there, then into New York City with more basic experience. Acting, I really wanted to be an actor. And I went to school for that and did a bunch of things related to being on the stage. However, when I found out that you could only work about 6 weeks a year, That was not for me, and I took my first job in Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee. And found that acting was part and basic to what I was doing, that is talk radio. There were plenty of people who were in the business who told me, get some entertaining experience behind you. Be an entertainer as well, as being a factor in talk radio. And it was a good experience, and there are very few people who do the same,
Well, it's an interesting medium these days because you have people who are coming into it from all walks of life, and they don't necessarily have a broadcast background. And I do, and I'm learning every day as I do this job. But it's changed a lot, Jerry, even in the last couple of years since you've left it on an everyday basis. What would you say is the worst thing that's happened to talk radio?
25-year-old radio talk show host.
You said 25, not 45.
25-year-old radio talk show hosts are the worst.
Why is that?
Because they don't know what the hell's going on. They don't have any idea. They don't have any experience in the basic talk radio business. And also, female talk radio hosts. God, get rid of them, please. Get rid of them.
All right, folks, you heard it. Jerry Williams on WBZ is my
Get rid of
guest.
them. Did you hear me?
Oh, by the way, I have something very important to tell you. 5459.
That's the
lottery number.
Lottery number?
Yeah, I thought you'd have to know that.
No, can you give me another number, please? That one I didn't like.
The most important number right now is 254-1030. And, Jerry, let's go to some calls. We could talk all night, Jerry and I, about the biz,
Jordan,
but yes.
Let's go to some calls.
All right. I tell you what, Jerry, why don't you introduce the callers? The first one is Manny from Canton. Take it, Jerry.
I never gave names.
Oh, you never gave names?
Never.
Well, how did you do it? You said...
Hello.
Okay, let's try
That's what I said. Hello. What do I need a name for?
Sure. Hello, nameless Manny person from Canton.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Hello.
Jerry, we had the pleasure of working together with, well, it wasn't a pleasure, with the Richmond brothers.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And I had the pleasure of selling time on the old WMEX, which the signal was held together by
No, you're mistaken. At that time, the signal was in very good shape. There were no FM stations on the air with the old MEX. There were very few, if any, AM stations. The AM stations in the main were low power. That station was a 5,000-watt station and had a very good signal.
Yeah. But today, that signal
That's a different
really
story.
not that
I'm
great.
not talking about today.
Yeah.
Let's stick to the point. You said it had a very poor signal. It did not.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, I always felt that you were kind of ahead of your time. And
Heady? What do you mean by heady?
Ahead of.
Ahead of your time.
Oh, ahead of
Not
my
like
time.
Hedy Lamarr. You were ahead of your...
I feel actually that if you were frozen in time, you would be today comparable to Bill O'Reilly and Michael Savage.
They were all my students. Are you kidding?
Really?
Bill O'Reilly is one of my students.
Really?
Absolutely.
Right.
That's where I should be.
Right.
Jerry, you once said that if you sat down next to Dan Rather and said nothing, just sat there, you'd be more well-known than in all the years of radio you ever had. Isn't that...
So that's all I want to do. All I want to do is sit next to Dan Rather, say nothing, just look, maybe have an expression once or twice. But after the program was over, I would be famous, infamous.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Now, Jerry, do you
We've
think
had enough
that,
from you.
Yeah, we've heard enough from you,
Move
Manny.
on.
Jerry?
One more thing, Manny. Go ahead.
Yeah. Of all the times in radio, Philadelphia and Boston, do you feel that your time in Chicago was probably one of the lowlights of your career?
No, as a matter of fact, it was not a low life. Chicago was a great radio town. I enjoyed Chicago immensely. I was working for CBS at the time. It was only a 3-year period or 3.5-year period in my experience. So I rarely mention it because most people seem to know me from WBZ in my big 8-year bit of experience there.
Hey, Manny, we got to run. Thank you so
Manny,
much.
Get lost.
He sounds like a biographer of yours, Jerry. He knows everything about you.
Yeah,
A little
except
scary.
the power of the station.
Hold on a second, Jerry. Quick break. We'll come back. A very special guest will join us. I believe this is a very special guest. It's sort of This Is Your Life. Jerry Williams is my guest, and we're talking about his career in talk radio, a stellar one indeed, and a controversial one as well. We'll be right back.
On the road road tonight? Make the ride more fun. Call the Jordan Rich Show on WBZ News Radio 1030. The phone number is 617-254-1030.
Attention business professionals. Instant messaging, real-time chat, virtual meeting spaces, and video conferencing are changing the way organizations do business. Learn about the tremendous benefits these and other collaborative tools and services will bring to your organization. On June 25th, 26th, and 27th, Boston will host a groundbreaking event on enterprise collaboration at the Heinz Convention Center. Collaborate Conference and Expo East 2002. More than 80 conference sessions, more than 50 exhibiting companies, featuring keynotes by Robert Reich, Al Zolar of Lotus Software, and Barry James Folsom of Placeware. Entrance to the exhibit hall and the keynotes are free. Register before June 19th at collaborateexpos.com or register on site. That's June 25th, 26th, and 27th at the Heinz Convention Center, Boston. The way organizations do business is changing. Don't get left behind. Collaborate East is produced by Advanced Star Communications.
Oh, 10:30?
Growing up, WBZ was always a good neighbor.
I listen to BZ on my way into work.
I enjoy hearing the top news stories.
I listen to BZ every day.
Every day I hear the sound of news where love and traveling.
I always listen to Traffic on the Tree.
Cause summer's here and the time is right for WBZ, yeah.
Every time I need something, I turn on, it's there. Hey, WBZ means news.
You know, Jan, on the weekends, many people are looking for a house to buy.
Well, I hope they're checking out the thousands of homes for sale without a real estate broker on isoldmyhouse.com.
It's a great matchmaking service. East West Mortgage has thousands of customers pre-approved for a mortgage loan.
And then the sellers can get matched up with buyers when they put a free listing on isoldmyhouse.com.
And with no real estate commission due, sellers can be more flexible on their asking price.
What amazes me is that you have so many buyers approved on credit and income through East West Mortgage.
But they can't do anything without a house to purchase. So I hope these guys are listening to their wives and get up off the couch this weekend, turn the sports off, and get out and look at houses.
Check out the thousands of houses for sale by owner on the web at isoldmyhouse.com.
And to get the money to buy it, call 1-800-EAST-WEST or apply online at eastwestmortgage.com.
We're there when you need us. Call 1-800-EAST-WEST. All you gotta do is call 1-800-EAST-WEST.
To get a closer look inside the NYPD, you could stick a pair of pantyhose on your head and scream, "Nobody move." Or watch My Father's Gun on the History Channel. See how 3 generations of heroic New York City cops overcame corruption, crime, and sometimes their own egos. Based on the critically acclaimed book by Brian McDonald, this documovie is the best way to go inside the NYPD. Without that annoying handcuffed feeling. My Father's Gun. Check it out. Monday at 9, 8 Central. Only on the History Channel.
Join WBZ at St. Peter Fiesta's 75th anniversary celebration in Gloucester, June 27th through the 30th. It's a celebration of the fishing industry featuring food, rides, games, entertainment, and a street painting festival. Plus, the opportunity to board and view 4 magnificent tall ships. For information, visit stpetersfiesta.org. Produced by the Italian-American fishing community of Gloucester. Look for the Fitzgerald Irish Turf Display, your peak fuel source from Ireland. Plus, receive free samples of polar beverages, a flavor for every taste.
Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, Infiniti, Cadillac, Saab, BMW, even Porsche. Only $299 a month at the Herb Chambers Drive It Home Now sale.
Hi, I'm Herb Chambers, and you're probably wondering, how do we do that? The answer is simple. We stock more luxury cars, we sell more luxury cars, and not a little more, a lot more.
So that's how you do it. Only $299 a month for luxury cars, like a 2002 Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Just add tax, 40-month lease, and only $1,500 to start with approved credit. If you ever wanted a Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, BMW, Infiniti, Cadillac, Saab, or Porsche, come to Herb Chambers and drive it home now for $299 a month. Check your paper, herbchambers.com. Why do more people buy luxury cars from Herb Chambers?
Because everyone wants the best price.
And you want it now for $299 a month. Come to Herb Chambers and drive it home now for $299 a month.
Showtime presents a powerful new original series.
You were busted under the Kingpin statue. Oh, that's right. I'm Don Corleone.
An ex-con on the street.
We got a trip going down. We need a little of your expertise.
A parole officer on the edge.
Tell me what is going to make me think you're going to change now. Tell me.
Welcome to life on the outside. Street Time. Series premiere tonight at 10 Eastern and Pacific. Part of Showtime's Free Preview Weekend. Free preview available only to TV customers of participating systems.
Great talk tonight with the Jordan Rich Show. Great news, traffic, and weather tomorrow morning. All on WBZ News Radio 1030.
617-254-1030 is the number. Jerry Williams, talk show host extraordinaire and the dean of talk radio, is on the line with me. You could age deli meat during that last break, Jerry. Are you still with me?
That was a long break. Can you give me the lottery number?
I got something better than that. You mentioned a technical term a few minutes ago called cockamamie?
Cockamamie, yeah. That's a New York expression.
Okay, the Queen is here. Hello, Grace.
Is this CO62525?
Don't tell me this is Grace,
Yes.
Queen of the Cockamamies.
Yes, Jerry. I tried to get you at CO62525. It didn't ring through.
No, that's not it, Grace. It's C. What is the number? The 2545678.
No.
Yes, that's
2545134.
That doesn't matter. 254-1030. But Grace, the Queen of the Cockamamies. Jerry, when was the last time you spoke to Grace?
The last time I spoke to Grace when she was 84 years old.
Jerry, that was a long time ago.
Was it?
Yes. The last time, we talked about Judge Ito's burritos.
Oh, yes.
You remember that?
No.
Jerry, by the way, I was listening to that Gordon guy. He's not a bad guy, Jerry.
Not about what?
Gordon, the guy who's on
Close
with you.
enough.
Gordon what?
I said he's not a bad guy.
No, his name is Jordan. Jordan, not Gordon.
Jordan. Oh, I love his furniture, Jerry.
Jordan Poor. Jordan Poor.
Jerry, whatever happened to Paul Benzedrine?
Paul Benzedrine,
Yeah.
he's still around. He lives in Marshmallow.
Oh, well, what about Jim Leftover?
Jim Leftover. Is he dead or alive? I don't know.
Well, I hope he's alive.
Don't ask me about dead people because I don't know about the dead people. They're gone.
Grace, how long have you been calling Jerry? Seriously?
Oh, Gordon, I've been calling Jerry since about 1957.
That's true. Since 1957.
Remarkable.
Yes,
It is remarkable that she's still around. Do you still have your wheelchair?
What was that, dear?
Do you still have your wheelchair?
Yes, Jerry, but my ears aren't what they used to be.
Oh yes, I'll do it again. Do you still have your wheelchair?
Yes, I do, Jerry.
I just wanted to know.
Oh, yes, I've gone through quite a few models since we first talked.
That's true.
First one I had a crank, and now I've got 4 on the floor.
4 on the floor. I like that
Jerry,
one.
4 on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry, who's that man who called you a little while ago?
Who?
The fellow who said he used to work with you. He sounded very strange.
Did he?
I think he did.
That was Manny.
Manny.
Yeah.
Manny is what they call a second guesser.
A second kisser?
No, guesser.
What did you say that was? A second kisser? I didn't
Yeah,
say that.
yeah.
Well, Jerry, I do the best I can.
I know you can.
Jerry, dear, I'm going to let you go because Gordon said there's a lot of people that want to talk to you.
Oh, there's 3 people at least.
Yeah.
Well, no, really, Jerry. I will, somehow we'll get together.
Okay, well, don't forget to give him your usual sign-off.
Oh, I will, Jerry, and I just want to give Gordon my breast, for letting me come on.
Thank you, Grace.
Oh, you're welcome. This is Grace, Queen of the Cockamamie, signing off, telling everybody to cool it. Good night.
Well, Jerry,
still out there.
Nice to know that your fans are out there, and that I've been listening to Grace with you for years and years.
Yeah, they're out there.
They're out there. By the way, has anyone finally decided to give you that dinner?
I never had a dinner. It doesn't look like I'm going to get it.
Gee whiz. Okay.
Never.
Well, we'll send some sandwiches over before midnight, maybe.
Good.
Let's go to Frank. Frank, you're on WBZ with Jerry Williams.
Hey, Jerry, quick question for you. I always used to enjoy your segment. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you did it once a year where you'd have the women kind of talk about sex.
I remember.
And
but most of all, I remember Mama.
I don't remember that part, but let me ask you this. How did that come about? And maybe you could tell us about your most memorable call during
it came about as a result of a survey that was taken by Cosmo magazine. And it had a tremendous survey, I think, for maybe 5,000 people, all women, all young, indicating how they liked their sex. And There was a list of about 50 questions, which I would simply go into. I took a shot at it, saying, I hope I'm going to make it, and I hope I'm not going to be tossed off the air. It was first done in Philadelphia, and then into Boston when I did it time and time again. Did you enjoy listening to it?
Yeah, actually, it was kind of it was kind of interesting to say the least. 'Cause
The best call I had, or one of the best calls I had, was the lady who liked it on the washing machine.
Oh my!
You remember the washing machine lady?
I do not remember that one.
I do.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a. Sorry, I didn't bring it with me. I still have the call. Fantastic.
It's right up there with Larry Glick's The Baloney Song, let me tell you, Jerry.
What kind of response did you get to that during that? Because you did it, once a year?
People loved it. They would say, "Can you play that again?"
That's great.
Hey,
well, we miss you, Jerry.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks.
Take care. Well, Frank's still looking for some of that. What can I tell you, Jerry?
Well, let's do it.
Okay, let's go to Jim in Malden. Jim, you're on WBZ with Jerry Williams.
Hi, Jerry. Good to hear you again.
Hey, thank you.
I remember back in the Watergate years, we used to talk a lot, and I remember how you used to go in hysterics over Eagle Crow. Remember him?
I remember Eagle
Fred
Crow.
J. Buzzard.
Yes.
We took a lot of heat in the early days on that, for sure.
I remember taking a lot of heat for mentioning a lot of those people.
You sure
people.
did, but you stuck in there, and by God, we were proved right. But very few people came up afterward and said very much, you know.
And here's the important thing about the other day and the discussions about Watergate on its 30th anniversary was the fact that none of the newsmen were over the age of 5 at the time.
Yeah.
So all I can say is, man, do your homework before you get on the air with something that expensive. They wouldn't know who Eagle Crow was.
Right after the break-in, my daughter was just in grammar school, and I said, this sounds like Tricky Dicky up to his usual stuff, you know. So she went to the school, and they were talking about it, you know, the news, and she said, my father says it's just Tricky Dick up to his usual stuff. She took a lot of heat, because I was down in Wallace country at that time in Middleborough.
Oh, yeah.
And later on, they never apologized after we were proved correct on it. So
Well, I appreciate
that was
you.
some time, boy. You did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I thank you very much for reminding me, and I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim,
you.
for the call. We appreciate it. 617-254-1030, and we'll try to go through these calls. There's a ton of them quickly, and we'll go to Bob in Boston, and then Glenn. Bob, you're on WBZ with Jerry Williams.
Jerry, it's me imitating you, sounding like you, and you're not a bad guy.
Oh, not a bad guy.
It's Bob Katzen, Jerry, from Beacon Hill Roll Call.
Katzen, for crying out loud.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi,
Jerry.
Bob. How are you?
How are you guys?
You guys work together
Did you
quite
ask
a bit.
a question?
I'm sorry?
Did you ask a question? How are you guys?
How are you guys?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Big
Don't
mistake,
tell us.
Bob.
Uh-oh. Big
Yeah.
mistake. Dr. Holloway, could you please tell me something about
No, except that you're using all the old cliches. How are you, Bob?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay.
I know you got a million callers there, Jordan, but everybody in talk radio owes a debt to this guy, Jerry Williams. As Larry King said in the Globe magazine article, I thought the most telling quote in there was Larry King saying, everybody who has ever done talk radio owes Jerry Williams a debt. He was the first of the great muckrakers.
And I wish she had sent some money along in that debt.
And one more, just quickie, as you know, Jerry, you and I worked on the seat belts and a variety of things.
Oh,
together.
yes, Bob was my voice at the State House.
The eyes and ears on Beacon Hill, as you used to call me. But, a lot of people say, well, Jerry just did that for ratings, when, of course, the reverse is true, because a lot of people would say to Jerry, your ratings are down slightly because you keep talking about seatbelts, and Jerry would say in his best voice, you know what? I don't care. I care about the issue. And he didn't care about the ratings. The exact opposite was true of what people were saying, because when you harp on something too much...
And you know what the boss said to me then?
You're
Remember
fired?
what the boss said to me?
What?
Same old thing. Get off it.
And Jerry wouldn't listen, and Jerry kept on. And, of course, repealed the seatbelt law. It was always interesting to me that people would give Jerry the rap of, you're doing that for ratings, when the opposite was true.
And I was right about the seatbelts. Remember, we said it would go up in terms of how much money you would have to pay that wanted now to be mandatory. I was right. I love to be right.
Yeah,
Hey,
you
Bob,
were right. It will soon be a first offense instead of a secondary offense.
Bob, are you still on the State House beat? You still doing that?
I am, yes.
Okay, good man. Nice to hear
Nice
from
to
you.
talk to you, Jordan. Jerry,
Take care.
be well.
Bob, get in touch.
All right, 617-254-1030. Yes, okay. Let's go to Glenn in Brighton. Very quick, Glenn, what's on your mind? Jerry's listening.
Hi,
Hi, Jerry.
Hey.
I don't remember me. I'm the one you used to make me sing middle C. I'm the blind piano tuner.
Oh, yes.
And you used to make me go C. And
Can you give me Can you give me a middle C now, quickly?
Yeah, C.
Is that a middle C?
Yeah, take my word for it. There were two things I wanted to ask you quickly.
What's the lottery number?
I don't know the lottery number.
I don't care whether you're blind and you can get C.
What?
I say I don't care whether you see. You always introduce yourself by saying I'm blind.
He's not only blind, he's a 49-year-old blind piano tuner from
Yeah,
Brighton.
how
That's
would
the
he
way-
know? How would I know that he was blind?
Exactly.
I met you at the anti-seatbelt rallies because I'm against the seatbelt law too. And I
Okay.
Listen.
What's your question?
I wanted to ask you.
What's your question, Larry King?
Yeah, well, I'm asking it now. I wanted to ask you if you remember, like during the war, the energy crisis, you were a bit bothered by the fact that women didn't call, and also I wanted you to tell that football joke, "Run, Angelo, run," the one about the black football player.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thanks, Glenn.
Boy, he remembers everything for crying
Boy,
out loud.
some of these people are all over you.
But I
for crying.
don't like female talk show hosts.
Yeah, is there one in particular who
No
gets under
one,
your throat?
all of them.
They all do, okay. Because we have a couple of ladies in the line. I want to get to them in just a second, Jerry. Maybe they'd like to retort that, or maybe they'd just like to
Who knows?
tell you about their favorite experience on a washing machine. I'm not sure. Hold on a second. Jerry Williams is on the line, 617-254-1030, as we pay tribute to the Dean of Talk Radio, who's still got it, as you can tell, having a lot of fun with us. We'll be right back after this.
To join in the Jordan Rich Show, call 617-254-1030. To hear all the news, traffic, and weather, listen each morning, starting at 5. We are WBZ News Radio 1030. Every day.
Is golf your game? You're just a chip shot away from the largest golf store in New England. Stop in to see what we have in store for you. Golfers Clubhouse is the largest all-golf store in the Northeast, with incredible values every day on an unmatched selection of golf equipment, accessories, clothing, and gifts from Callaway, Cleveland, Titleist, TaylorMade, and many other famous makers. Our customers tell us that our commitment to service by a knowledgeable staff who evaluate, recommend, and provide full-service club fitting are their biggest reasons for shopping at Golfers Clubhouse. Indoor driving bays, a putting green, and tech center on site make their shopping experience as much fun as the game. Demo programs to test drive clubs before buying, trade-ins on used sets, and our extended club warranty keep them coming back. If golf's your game, swing it to Golfers Clubhouse in the Danvers Crossing Shopping Center, Route 1 South, behind Circuit City.
Century 21 is pleased to have received the J.D. Power & Associates Award for highest overall satisfaction for first-time homebuyers among national full-service real estate firms.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
You're the man!
No, you are. Wow. For details on our J.D. Power & Associates Award, visit jdpower.com.
Oh, yeah, it's better than my holding one.
You think so?
Yeah,
Visit Century21.com to learn how a career in real estate with a Century 21 office can help make you a success. Century 21, real estate for the real world. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Showtime presents a powerful new original series.
You were busted under the Kingpin statue. Oh, that's right. I'm Don Corleone.
An ex-con on the street.
We got a trip going down. We need a little of your expertise.
A parole officer on the edge.
Tell me what is going to make me think you're going to change now. Tell me.
Welcome to life on the outside. Street Time. Series premiere tonight at 10 Eastern and Pacific. Part of Showtime's Free Preview Weekend. Free preview available only to TV customers of participating systems.
Once upon a time, a beautiful princess visited the new Living Links exhibit at the New England Aquarium. There she saw and learned about frogs. How they have chemicals on their skin that are used to make medicines. It moved her so much, she kissed the first frog she saw, breaking an evil spell and turning him back into a pharmacist. Check out Living Links, the amazing new exhibit on biodiversity supported by the National Science Foundation, only at the New England Aquarium. Or visit online at neaq.org. The New England Aquarium. Did you see that? Imagine a sport where each breath may be your last. Oceanmen, a new IMAX film at the New England Aquarium, follows two heroes of free diving as they plunge perilously deep into the ocean and resurface on a single breath. A breath they must hold up to 7 minutes longer than I'm trying to do now. Oceanmen starts June 20th at the Simons IMAX Theater at the New England Aquarium, sponsored by John Hancock in partnership with UP at 38. Whew. Visit neaq.org for details.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
I admit it, I'm a control freak. That's probably why I wanted a home equity line of credit to control my finances. That's probably also why I got it at LendingTree. I filled out one simple form and got 4 offers back within hours. Nice to know I've got it all under control.
Visit LendingTree.com or call 1-800-555-TREE. That's 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
This is Charles Osgood. Before there were modern interstates to speed you from one destination to another, there was one road that became the destination, Route 66. 2,400 miles of meandering asphalt connecting Chicago to L.A. and thousands of extraordinary experiences in between. This summer, Hampton Inn is teaming with Route 66 associations to preserve this national treasure, from reposting Route 66 signs to restoring nostalgic landmarks along its 8-state path. For more information on how you can help, visit hamptoninn.com.
Catch the freshness of spring with Pure Citrus, an air freshener like no other. Pure Citrus is a 100% all-natural, non-aerosol air freshener made of select citrus extract from oranges, lemons, limes, tangerines, and grapefruit. There is no water and no artificial chemicals added. Pure Citrus not only smells like fresh fruit, but it's the most effective odor eliminator available. Pure Citrus works by destroying odor molecules in the air and in your carpet. It's safe, natural, and effective. That's why it's used in hundreds of hospitals. Pure Citrus is so highly concentrated that it takes more than 2,000 pounds of Pure Citrus peels to make one 7-ounce can. Just one little can of Pure Citrus can freshen about 500 standard-size rooms. Try all-natural Pure Citrus for yourself. It works great against cooking odors, pet odors, smoking odors, or anything else that is just plain stinky. There's nothing else like the pure, powerful freshener of Pure Citrus.
Pure Citrus, now available at Market Basket, Stop and Shop, Shaw's Supermarket, Star Market, Roach Brothers, Victory Market, Johnny's Food Master, Walmart, and Trucci's.
To join in the Jordan Rich Show, call 617-254-1030. To hear all the news, traffic, and weather, listen each morning, starting at 5. We are WBZ News Radio 1030. Every day.
Thank you. We are back. It's now 11:45 with Jerry Williams, my special guest. Last week in the Boston Globe magazine, a wonderful article. We were reminiscing a bit about Jerry's career earlier. Now we're taking your phone calls, and we go back to them. And some ladies, Jerry, here you go. Carol in Malden, you're on WBZ with Jerry Williams. Hi.
Hello, Carol.
Hi, Jerry. 3 things. The Vietnam caller. That was unbelievable.
Right.
I wish after we hang up, since I can't talk very long, I hope that you discuss that a little bit. 2, you're actually responsible for my addiction to talk radio. I was in my teens, and I think that you always thought young women never listened to issues, and I always did. And number 3, I've missed you very much since you've been gone. I couldn't believe that you've been gone. I couldn't believe Howie Carr is still on. And I'm happy to say that there is somebody that is also issue-oriented and that beats dead dogs to death when they're important, although I usually take the other side than he does. There is somebody, Peter Blute, sorry, I won't mention it, who does that. He's the first person since you're gone that does that. I'm very happy about that. And lastly, I don't like women talk show hosts either. Bye.
So there. Thank you.
That was it. Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Very quickly, Jerry, the call that you referred to, the Vietnam call, where George McGovern came by one day and used that call. Tell us very briefly about that.
I got a call from not from George McGovern. I got a call from a veteran who indicated his staunch feelings about what happened to him when he was in Vietnam. And it was a very, very sad and poignant call. And it touched a lot of people, including me. And there's a long history about what happened with it and to it, and the call and the caller. It touched a lot of people. And I still have the tape on the call. You should have asked me to bring it. I would have brought it. It's an 8-minute-long tape about the Vietnam War veteran's experience in Vietnam and how he noticed that people who were being shot where they were shot by pellet bullets. Do you know what they're called?
No.
Well, whatever they were called at the time. And they were just somewhat like a bullet that spreads the news, so-called.
Like a dum-dum bullet or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Just wreak havoc. Yeah.
But it was the sound of the caller, the sound of what was going on. And then again, the call was being interrupted by people from the networks. They wanted to know who he was, and whether I had his name, as if I had anybody's name. You're mentioning a name.
Yeah.
I never had any names, not the first one, not the second one. How do we know it's not a phony, et cetera, et cetera? Well, we'll leave it at that, but it was a very, very significant call.
And that really is something I think that speaks to the immediacy of this particular brand of broadcasting and the impact that it can have. I mean, knowing that you had an impact almost every day when you did it, and I feel the same way on a very different scale, but it really is impressive to know that this is an immediate, hard-pressed medium where you can get stuff done. Anyway, that's the way I feel.
So do I.
Let's go to Andrea in Canton. You're on WBZ with the Dean of Talk Radio, Jerry Williams.
Oh, Jerry, what a delight this is. Well,
what
Jerry,
a delight it is to have me.
After all of those commercials, we certainly know that talk radio is not entertainment. It's the advertising business. By the way, we used to dance on Saturday afternoons when you were on Saturdays.
Oh, yes.
And I can't tell you how much I miss your brand of talk radio. And I often say to my husband, especially with all the things that have been happening over the past year or so, I wish Jerry Williams was on because he'd really be on this. He'd really be talking about this.
I would be on it.
Oh, you would really be on it. Most of talk today is kind of silly, and what I hate most is that every single half an hour the topic changes so that you never get anything in-depth at all. And the quality of talk radio, even here in the Boston market, has just plummeted. And, folks like you were just so good, and I miss that so much.
Well, Andrea, I appreciate it. So much so that I named one of my daughters Andrea.
Yes, and by the way, didn't that Vietnam caller turn out to be a hoax and the guy who was actually the union organizer for the hotel people?
No, that's not it at all. I don't know who it was.
You don't know
to
who
this
it
day,
was?
I don't know who it was.
Okay. Well, Jerry, I'd love to see you resurrected anytime. I will be one of your faithful listeners, callers, dancers, anything you want.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrea, for the call. Appreciate it.
But she says, well, I used to dance with her on Saturday afternoon. I used to do a show when I was in the early days at the other station, and I used to play some music occasionally, once in a while, with a great beat to it, and I'd ask the women to call in and kind of dance with me as we were listening to the music. So it was another one of the many things I've done in talk radio.
Oh, the power of the imagination, right? Theater of the mind, why not? Dance, or do anything. Let's go to Ed in Brookline. I don't know if Ed wants to dance with you, but he's next. Hi, Ed.
No, but I wonder if he's talked to George Shearing lately.
Have I talked to George Shearing lately?
I
It was probably one of the worst interviews I ever did. George Shearing said almost nothing. He was ready to go, and I was ready to have him go. It was another one of those Saturday afternoons, I think, where I was playing Shearing music. I loved George Shearing.
Isn't it funny how people remember those instances, Jerry?
Yeah, well, he was getting nervous, and I could see he was getting nervous. I said, George, if you'd like to leave. He says, yes, I would. I said, so long. And that was the end of the interview with George Shearing.
I also remember you chatting with Julius Ansel way back
Oh,
then.
those are the old days.
Yeah.
Julius was a representative from Ward 14. His heart belonged in Ward 14. I had a million different remembrances of that great time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Thanks for the call, Ed. We
Bye-bye.
appreciate it. 617-254-1030 is the telephone number. Jerry Williams is here. His career is...
Did we run out of calls?
No, I've got many more calls.
Oh.
In fact, here's another fella who, I don't know if you worked with Kenny Meyer or not, but he's on the line now. Kenny, hello?
Kenny Meyer.
Jerry, would you turn your radio down, please?
Would you turn your mouth down? I remember you.
As a matter of fact,
Larry
we did
Glick's
work.
producer.
Yes, we did work together, Jordan. Twice, as a matter of fact. My first year at BZ, which was in 1971, we did a week of celebrating BZ's 50th anniversary on the air. And for 4 hours every night, 5 nights a week, we had everybody that helped make radio the great medium that it is or was.
And now they're all dead, right?
Yeah,
Nobody's left
except us. But I did work with Jerry, and it was, believe it or not, it was one of the highlights of my life at BZ.
I don't believe it.
Oh, trust me.
I'm sorry. I just started to throw that in.
Oh no, it was the truth. And I in fact, when I first came to BZ to try and get hired, I stood in the control room that night and watched Jerry on the air, and he was the first person that ever mentioned my name on BZ Radio.
See that, Jerry?
I'm sorry I did.
See that? Look what you did. Look what you started. And by the way, those are the days when you and Glick were in the same building at the same time.
Oh,
and,
yes.
A dangerous combination, if I may say so myself, Jerry.
No, there were good times, though. I tell you, I did 4 hours, and Glick did 6, I think.
Yep.
Right. Kenny, thanks for the call. I want to squeeze in a few more here. Thank you.
No problem.
Take care. Let's go to John in Somerville for Jerry Williams, Dean of Talk Radio. John, you're on the air.
Hi, Jerry.
What's up, John?
Oh, I enjoyed listening to you for very many years. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I had a question for you, please. There was a flag lowered to half-mast in Chicago tonight during the ball game for a baseball player when many veterans don't enjoy that same benefit. What are your feelings about lowering the American flag to half-mast for a baseball player when so many veterans overseas don't enjoy that?
Well, I think people do that because they really want to show their respect. It's not evilly done, as they say. It's not done with any. We're trying to better one group over another. There should be some rules, don't you think so?
I agree with you.
So that if there's a funeral and it's a well-known sports personality.
Because my father served during the Second World War, and I don't think when he passes away that anyone will show him that honor.
Or me.
Yes, sir.
And you.
And all of us. John, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. We have a few minutes left here. Steve Lavelli has popped in, and he wanted to bring up an issue regarding a certain play and a certain event that occurred here at BZ.
What happened?
Jerry, didn't you do a show on the nude on this station one time when the cast of Hair came to town?
Well, it just shows you haven't done your homework.
Uh-oh.
You have not done your homework. That was Glick.
Glick well, that's funny, because I asked Glick. I thought it was Glick, and I asked him, and he claimed he didn't.
No, Glick. I was in the other studio. This is the old MEX. I'm telling you the facts. Glick did it at midnight on the midnight show.
Okay.
And he called a policeman. Or we called a policeman to lock him up. So Glick Glick told you an untruth.
Boy, that's unusual, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, Jerry.
You know why?
Yeah.
He's an AK.
You get that?
No.
Well, never mind. When you had Jerry on a few weeks ago, you kept cutting him, I think, on the AK line, right?
Well, somebody else cut it. I
not you. You didn't do it.
I'm just sitting here.
Some young kid, 25 years old, cut you on the AK line, Jerry. So it wasn't Steve. Don't blame him.
Regardless.
Hey, Jerry, this was fun.
Steve was savoring it. He was savoring it. Say, I'm the only one who ever cut Jerry Williams.
I got to hang up on Jerry. I mean, who else can say that?
Well, I won't hang up on you. I can only say we've got about a minute and a half before we have to leave and play more commercials. What else is new? But, Jerry, this has been a lot of fun. My best regards to you and your family. And are you still thinking about heading down to Florida at some point?
I'm giving it some thought.
Okay.
Had an offer.
Had an offer.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, listen, whatever you do, may you do it with good health, and thank you very much. You could tell by the outpouring of fans that you have a lot of calls. A lot of calls.
Yep.
A lot of calls. Yes, we have to add 3 more lines.
How come the show is over?
It's over.
Who's on the Steve Lavelli show?
Who's on the Steve
I don't
Lavelli
have a
show?
guest.
How come?
Well, I didn't think of one.
I think Jerry's hinting. I mean, if you want to hold him over.
No, I've had it.
All right, Jerry, thank you very much. Take care of yourself,
Good night,
and
Jerry.
we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Good night.
Good night, Jerry.
Bye.
Jerry Williams,
That was great.
who was featured in the Globe last week, and I've had the pleasure of actually meeting with him in his home and looking over some of his artifacts from a very fabled broadcast career. And I'll tell you something, Steve. It's a remarkable. I'm sure we have him in our basement. You know, the lists of guests and so forth. Couldn't match Jerry's though. Really amazing
for
stuff.
Sure.
Well, we've got 30 seconds. Basically, what's ahead?
Oh, I guess we'll talk about Bin Laden, and they're saying Bin Laden's alive. I think we'll talk about Amtrak, and Ann Landers died.
Why is that fair? That Bin Laden is alive and Ann Landers died?
It's not fair.
It's not
You're
fair
right.
at all.
The world is not fair.
And they ought to stick him on a train. And well, never mind. We'll be back on Friday. And what an hour. Grace, Queen of the Cockamamie's even called. Thank you, Jamie, for a fine job. And thanks to all of our guests and all of our callers. Hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Steve Lavelli is coming up next. This is Jordan Rich saying good night, good morning, God bless you, and God bless America.
Airchecks.com, where classic radio lives.